variable is already all by itself with no coefficient, that's the variable you want to solve for. So x plus 2y equals 1, I'm going to solve for x. So right here, I'm just going to solve for x. I'm going to subtract 2y from both sides. That cancels, and I end up with x equals negative 2y plus 1, or you can write x equals 1 minus 2y, whichever one you want. Either one's fine, okay? Then I'm going to put a little rectangle around that because that's what I got when I solved for that. So again, we're looking at solving by substitution. Step 1 is solve for the variable in the first column. So I did that and I got x equals 1 minus 2y. Then what you're going to do, this is where the actual substitution comes in. So you're going to take that x equals 1 minus 2y. And we're going to substitute it into the other equation where we see an x. So you see if x is 1 minus 2y, then over here I can say, well, instead of writing an x there, I'm going to write a 1 minus 2y. So I'm going to replace the x. It's going to be 5 times, and we have to put it in parentheses, 1 minus 2y minus 4y. I'm just going to write the rest of the equation here. All right, so the concept again is that we're substituting this, what we got for x over here on the left, and we're going to replace it with the 1 minus 2y. Now I can solve this equation because all I have in it is y's, okay? So again, going back to the PowerPoint, what we did, we took that 1 minus 2y and we just plugged it in right there. So wherever you see the x, now you have a 1 minus 2y. And so that's the work. I'm going to go ahead and do the work also right here on my paper. So 5 times 1 minus 2y, we're going to do distributive property. So I'm going to do 5 times 1, which is 5, and then 5 times negative 2y, which is negative 10y, minus 4y equals negative 23. Now I need to combine like terms. So I'm going to combine my negative 10 and my negative 4 and get negative 14. And now you see we're getting down where we just have a two-step equation. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I get negative 14y equals 23 minus 5. Okay. Sorry, this was negative 23. Negative 23 minus 5, and I get negative 28. Divide both sides by negative 14, and I get y equals 2. Okay, and you can see that's the same thing they did over here. It's just kind of giving you the step-by-step there, okay? So now I have y is equal to 2. Remember, the whole point of this work is because eventually I want to get down here to the bottom and I want to have an x and a y, because that's where these two original equations, if I graph them, that's where they're going to intersect. So I have a y, my y is 2, but I'm still missing the x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this y, I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to plug it in. So y is 2, so that means I'm going to replace, we're going to substitute again, x equals 1 minus 2 times y, which is 2. So x equals 1 minus 4. So x equals 1 minus 4 is negative 3. So all this means is that now I am finished because I have my answer where these two lines, this line and that line, intersect at that point. All right, so let's just go through what we did. So we took that y equals 2, we substituted back over there, and we got negative 3. And then you can, if you want to, you can go in and you can plug these answers in. So you can actually plug in the negative 3 and the 2 right here and make sure you get the same thing on both sides. You can plug in the negative 3 and the 2 here, and again, you should get the same thing on both sides. That's how you know that you got the right answer. Now, some of you might be saying, well, wouldn't it have been easier just to graph it, because that's a lot of work? But let's look and see what happens, okay? So if I had tried to graph these, right? First of all, I want them to be in slope-intercept form. Look at how these equations look in slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1/2. That's not the easiest, and this one's even worse. Y equals 5/4 x plus 23/4, which is 5.75. So if I actually did graph it, that's what it would look like. Okay, but those are really difficult equations to graph. And most likely if you tried to graph those, you're probably not going to be that accurate and you might not end up with that point. But as you can see, it is intersecting at the point -3, 2. Look, that's what we got for our answer, right? We got -3, 2. And look right here. That, if I graphed that line and I graphed that line, these were the two equations we first started off with. They do intersect at the point -3, 2. Okay? So, I want y'all to try, why don't y'all try number 2, and I'll post another video with the answer for number 2, and the rest of this you can kind of look through and try some more of these on your own, but there's a bunch more in here, okay? But I'm gonna put the answer up for this number 2, y = x - 4 and 4x + y = 26, all right?